Good evening. I've got a press message that I think I need to deliver now instead of waiting to go home. Stealth operation. Stealthy operations that lead to a stealth operation. A lot of our African people are not aware that they are oppressed. They do not understand the nature of their oppression. Even the circumstances that they find themselves in are explained away by those that govern us as if it is normal. Things like youth unemployment, things like work permits, all of those things make sense because they've got a legal framework, legal background, they make sense, so you get to accept them and try to work up the ladder in an oppressive system that could not be oppressive if it wants to. As I said in the previous video, that especially in South Africa, there's no need to have illegal foreigners. It's simple. Home Affairs can just give them papers, all of them at once. There'll be no one illegal, but they're not going to do that. So that is a form of a stealthy oppression whereby we oppress you legally. Okay, we use the constitution and the law and the status quo, these rules-based order in which the rules are made to benefit a certain group of people and to be a disadvantage to a certain group of people, but they're not saying it overtly. Hence, I call it a stealth operation for a stealth oppression. I've come to realize that even on a historical basis, what we have been oppressing, what we have been calling oppression, has always been stealth. It's not like when Cecil John Rhodes came to Africa, he didn't say we are going to Africa to oppress South Africans or to oppress Zimbabweans. No, he was a businessman. Stealth operation. It was hidden under a business. It was called the British South African Company. It was a mining company. What's so oppressive about a mining company? It employed people, black people that didn't have jobs. All right. Hold on. So it employed black people that didn't have jobs. All right. But it was an oppression nonetheless, stealth oppression, because the mining rights went to the British South African Company, all mining rights in Zimbabwe, thereby making sure that there's nobody else who can be economically prosperous via mining, and including via the land. You understand? Now, it took people like John Langalibalele Dube to form the ANC in the early 1920s. We were to conscientize the black Africans that, hey, take a look, we're actually oppressed here. Because the black Africans didn't think they were oppressed. They thought that they were working in the mines. They thought getting a job in the mines is a normal thing to do. It's not. The normal thing was to own the mines, not to work there. The fact that only the owners and the shareholders happen to be white and all the workers happen to be black was a stealth operation of oppression. But the oppressed people didn't recognize that because they were so accustomed to the law and the regulations of the time. It takes people like John Langalibalele Dube to conscientize people by starting the ANC. It took people like Joshua Mkabuko Nyongolo Komo to start the Zimbabwean ANC in the 1960s, to conscientize the people that, hey, my daughter, we're actually being oppressed here. This actually is our land. This actually is our mining minerals, and we need to have the mining rights. But because they have crafted a legal framework that essentially gives mining rights to so-called those that qualify and they happen to be white, and do not give those that are disqualified who happen to be black. So in that legal framework, we discover that oppression carries on legal. It's the same thing today in 2024. I want to add something else. The Bantu stance. In South Africa, you used to have the Bantu stance, meaning they were actually a country. South Africa was not always one country. The Bantustans, according to the oppressors, was a country on its own, even though that country was regulated, or rather, what do you call it? It was ruled by blacks, but actually, it was actually overruled by the apartheid government, who made sure that the people in the Bantustans remain uneducated, drastically reduce education standard, drastically reduce farming conditions, give them land that is not fertile, and so that they will need to work in Joburg mines, to work for white people. Therefore, you are actually crushing a country which is Bantustan. And when the Bantustanians want to come to South Africa, they must have a pass, which is a passport. It pass laws. Pass laws made sense to those of those times. They thought like, oh, we are not South Africans. We are Bantustanians. We are from the Transkei. Okay, so when you go to South Africa in the mines, we need to carry a pass. They thought it was normal. They thought it was legal. Of course it was legal, because that is what the Constitution said. But the Constitution was crafted in such a way, in a very crafty, satanic way, of making it appear as if the owners of the land are actually invaders, and the invaders of the land are actually owners. So I can take you by surprise that even today, in 2024, we have got this thing of telling people that they need papers. It's like they pass law, creating borders, and having a country like Zimbabwe, Botswana, Mozambique, where the hegemony in Sandton in South Africa is able to yield power and control over the politicians in the region, helping them to steal resources from their communities, and banking them in Sandton, and benefiting Sandton, crushing these countries, suffocating Zimbabwe, suffocating Zambia, suffocating Malawi, so that the Zimbabweans and the Malawians and the Congolese, all of them will come rushing to South Africa to look for jobs. And guess what? They'll be told that you are foreigners. Same thing with the Bantustans. People in Transkei were told, no, Transkei is not South Africa. It's a country on its own. Okay, South Africa belongs to the whites and the Boros. You blacks, Transkei. So when you come to South Africa, you need passports, pass laws, and we will make it difficult for you to have rights. Your rights are severely limited. But it's your own country. But now it has been divided. The oppressor has given you land. Just like today, the Southern African citizen is allocated a country where they were born. Okay, that whole process is for dehumanizing you as a black African, so that we say, oh, you're born in Malawi, you're born in Zambia, so if you're in another country. But one thing that people like Getron Mackenzie fail to understand is that you cannot chase foreigners from South Africa, because the wealth of South Africa itself is derived from their foreign countries. Okay, let me help you. Zimbabwean platinum, Zimbabwean gold is not accrued to the Zimbabwean government. Most of it comes to the South Africa and becomes South African platinum. It's counted as South African gold. Most of our gold that is what you call it, that comes into South Africa illegal, is not paying taxes in Zimbabwe. It's paying taxes in South Africa so that they can build roads and hospitals in South Africa. That is Zimbabwean money. We cannot, therefore, Getron Mackenzie, allow Zimbabwean gold and Zimbabwean platinum, Zimbabwean lithium, Zambian copper, and all those resources from DRC to come and enrich Sandton, and then turn around and say the people from those countries, Mabaham. Well, if you want the Mabaham, that's good, but then set them free. Also, their resources, Mabaham, and just see how the level playing field is going to be like. Because I am sick and tired of politicians like Getron Mackenzie, who are very uneducated, who do not understand the full picture, because they just want votes. They rally people on things that they do not understand. He doesn't understand economics, Getron Mackenzie. Because if we look at economics, South Africa relies on the region. The riches of this country come from the rest of the region. Without the rest of the region, this country will be broke. its economy will fall. All those jobs in South Africa are created because they have to facilitate for trade and activities that emanate from resources in the region. So if you do not want the people from the region, therefore also do not take the resources from the region. Allow the people in the region to create their own countries. They will have their own financial systems, their own financial hubs. Zimbabwe's financial system is deliberately destroyed so that it will benefit the hegemony in Pretoria and Sandton. And that is why ED has got a strong backing from Cyril Ramaphosa and the ANC government, and even steadily the DA. They will never say it with their mouth, but that they will steadily support him, but overtly denounce him in front of the cameras, but through their action, business SA, capital SA, actually. Hello, Sharp, guys. I'm taking a video here for my friend. It's a political video. Do you want to play it? I'm not taking it. How was work today? What was the rest of it? What was the rest of it?
All right. Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Okay, tomorrow I'm going to talk another time.
No, now we can even.
I'm thinking you are a preacher and you on TikTok.
I'm gonna post it on YouTube. No, I'm not gonna put you in because.
Okay.
Yes, what a beautiful couple. What a beautiful couple. These guys work together, stay together, eat together, do dishes bath together.
But actually, you're right. Even the dishes together.
You do the dishes together.
Yeah, I wash, then she dries up.
If I cook cabbage, he makes chicken.
Couple of calls.
If I do maybe rice, then he does at his end.
Oh,
Yes.
that's nice. Yeah, that's nice. You see, there's a nice couple of calls right there. My friend Koshia and her boyfriend. Like, okay. So we'll continue talking about the stealth operation. Stealth operation means that there is operation, but it is hidden. It makes you to justify it. It makes you think that your circumstance is okay. It makes you believe that your lack of rights is actually okay. As I say, that youth unemployment is criminal activity by the government. There is no self-respecting government that can fail to create employment. Creating employment isn't it's not a hard thing. Okay, there is policies that are globally known that can be followed to increase employment, but governments deliberately do not follow those policies because the agenda is not about elevating the living conditions of black people. The agenda is actually to destroy the living conditions of black people. Just like during the years of the Bantustans, the education and business sector of Bantustans was crushed deliberately so that black people will go to look for a job in Johannesburg. Even today, it's the same issue that the living conditions of black people is deliberately crushed so that you can be subservient to the economic system that seems to be rewarding a certain group of people that I will not mention. I'm sure by now you know which group of people are those. Who seem they don't have to pass, even if they fail matric, things go well for them. But if you're a black person, even if you pass matric, things might not look rosy. But then there will be a few that will make it, and then it will make you think that, oh, but the system is there. If you actually go to UCT, get a degree, get a job, things are going to be fine. There will be success stories so that you might think that there is a legal pathway of being all right. But that is to make the stealth part, to hide the fact that there is under the carpet a hidden oppressive system, both in South Africa and in the region of Southern Africa, of which the headquarters really is South Africa. It is Pretoria, which is controlled by Sandton and Stellenbosch. Unless it becomes a woke Zimbabwe, and begin to recognize that you are actually one and the same with your fellow African brothers across the region of Africa. The oppressor has divided you so that they can conquer you and give you different narratives, like the black South Africans are given a narrative of foreigners must go, and the foreigners are given a different narrative of you are a foreigner, you need papers. So in that instance, you, the black people, begin to fight, guess what, for low-level jobs, where in their own continent where they're supposed to be the owners of the means of production, but they find themselves being slaves or low wage earners and fighting over low wage jobs. I'll never fight for a low wage job. I'm not a stupid fool. I will not fight for a restaurant job. I will not fight to be a security guard. I will fight to take the country because that what is mine. Mine is a country. All of it. Not these silly jobs. So the oppressor has made it appear in the brain of the black Africans to appear as well, you need to fight for these weak jobs. And once you get a job, oh, you have reached heaven. We have not. All right. So it becomes a stealth operation because it is hidden from you and you think it's okay. We normalize abnormal things. That's the point I'm saying. Even when Cecil John Rhodes was running Zimbabwe and running South Africa, he normalized oppression. The oppressed Africans did not think that they were oppressed. They thought it's okay. No, that's the right thing to do. That's where you should be. That's how things will be like. If it wasn't for John Langalebale who started the ANC, black people would still think that it's okay to work in the mines and they say bus. You see the things like bus, we call it umlungu or bus. I remember when I was growing up in Zimbabwe, grandmother worked for these white people. And I would see her and all the garden boys in that area. When they see the white person, they're running, say, bus, bus, bus. So it was indoctrinated in them that the white person is the boss and the black person. He'll never be a boss. So it becomes, what do you call it? Yeah, it becomes ingrained in one's mind that they think it's okay to be black and be a low wage earner, and that the white guy always deserves, even if though he knows nothing because he's white. So that is the nature of oppression that we are actually finding ourselves in these times. And it is stealthy because right now we ourselves justify it. We do not need papers in Southern Africa. It is our continent. And we do not need, as black Zimbabweans, black South Africans, black Malawians, to be fighting over stupid jobs, being misled by incompetent and ill-advised politicians like Gayton Mackenzie, who just are seeking for votes, but they have got no substance in what they are really standing for. We need to rally together and work together in building ourselves out of the oppressive nature that the conqueror from Europe came to do to us. The conquering armies from Europe have not stopped. Don't be fooled by things like Independence Day, 1994, what, Rainbow Nation, blah, 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 blah. It never changed. They just changed tactic. They just changed tact to make you think that, oh, it's a new country, people have got rights. But if people have rights, why is it that still a certain group of people is still suffering when a certain group of people is still enjoying? Yet this is a free country. It's a free Mandela. Then you begin to see, hold on here. Someone is not telling the truth one way or the other. It's called a stealth oppression. Stealth operations for stealth oppression. Using the law to justify oppression, using the law and constitution to justify historical injustices that were never addressed, and these people have got no appetite whatsoever to address them. And unless and until we become woke and begin to know who the real culprit is here, well, then we will forever be eating dust. Actually do need another Joshua Kabugo Nyongolo Nkomo, who needs to tell us that actually it is the constitution and the political system and the political agenda of the elite that is a problem. The political agenda of the elite, historical, whether in Africa, Europe, Asia, is always been to oppress the masses. The elite always amass wealth for the elite. And in the instance of Africa, it has always been African leaders, African chiefs that sold their black people to slavery. Slavery in the Congo was sold by the kings of Congo. When the Belgian king came to oppress the Congolese, he was just taking over from the oppression that the Congolese chiefs were doing all along in other African chiefs. It's not different today. Itim Nangagwa is another village chief. I've called him that before, that Itim Nangagwa is a village chief who sells Zimbabwe for cents on the dollar. Zimbabweans are sold overpriced passports, to begin with, another oppressive way, and being sold to foreign countries so that they become cheap labor, so that they can send money back home that it will take. So he's selling us as cheap labor. And what do they give ED in return? Do you know they give him? Political relevance, political acceptance. South Africa will always accept ED Mnangagwa because ED gives them cheap Zimbabweans to abuse in South Africa. The United Nations, with all these Western countries, will allow Itim Mnangagwa to go to the United Nations and recognize his oppressive government because what he's doing is their pity. You see, white people have gone very clever. They do not want to be the ones oppressing black people directly because they know that they've got a bad track record. So the best way of doing it is to get a few willing blacks who hate their own people, and it is one of them. A few willing blacks who hate their people, give them power and authority, legitimize their illegal stay in power, and they will destroy the rest of the black people, and the black people will blame blackness, and white people seem to be have their hands clean. When in actual fact, all the economic wealth that is created in Zimbabwe goes to self-Santi, New York, London, all the financial institutions that are white owned. And the 15 million Zimbabweans who are the rightful heirs of the land of their nation get nothing. In fact, they are sold off to foreign countries as slaves. And this, as we can see, this slavery is justified because this modern day slavery, it is you who goes to take a passport. It is you who goes to another country. It is you who comes to South Africa and asks for asylum. It is you. And therefore you think that it is justified because you do these things. Nagawa didn't come with a gun and say, go and become a slave in South Africa. No, he didn't. But the circumstances, the living conditions, the constitutional agenda, or rather the political agenda, creates a system or an environment where you've got no choice but to do what they want you to do. Stealthy, undercover, oppression. You have to see it. In as much as we're going to blame Zanu PF and Itim Nanga, we must understand also there's a global oppressive hand at stake. It is watching us. That is why my channel never grows. What makes you think that my channel doesn't grow? Because the system is owned by the global oppressors. They obviously do not want like 15 million Zimbabweans to be woke. If you think I'm lying, if I start twerking here, shaking my behind, there's my behind. Like, for those who've never seen my behind, there's my behind. If I shake my behind video after video, I will have 2 million views. Because the oppressor wants you to be watching black people dancing. Trying little they'll be making videos of themselves dancing. Everybody's watching and laughing. That's what the oppressor wants you to watch. So TikTok will grow, YouTube, shows like that will grow. Speak about real emancipation. The algorithm. The algorithm will come up with, with an explanation as to why. Ah, yeah. Let's stop there for now and let's think about it and understand the nature.